Cal Newport, in the book Deep Work, states that what we choose to focus on and what we choose to ignore determines the quality of our life. And you may have seen this in a few occasions, specifically in your life, and today we are going to be talking about how you could choose when you do and do not have your phone as a distraction. We are going to go through a list of things you can do to your phone to optimize it, remove it as a temptation, and make it so your phone is either for productivity or it's to text people when you need to. It's not going to be something where you hop on it for whatever reason. You don't even know why you're picking it up. You're just bored of your task. That is what we are trying to fix. What causes that is these dopamine peaks. Now, this video isn't about dopamine, but a quick explanation will help explain what we are trying to do. When you are doing your work and you think about your phone, your dopamine goes up. Your dopamine goes up, that's a good feeling. And then when you stop thinking about your phone, go back to work, your dopamine drops back down. Now that's the bad feeling. What your brain naturally wants to do is grab your phone and start scrolling on your phone or doing whatever you craved, because that returns it right below baseline. It makes it jump up a little bit, but it doesn't quite reach baseline. Now, the more frequently this happens, the further below baseline you end up. If you don't grab your phone, then over time it'll return to baseline. But we don't want these jumps at all while we're working. Either way, whether we grab our phone or not, it's not going to be helpful for our productivity. So if you go ahead and implement these tips, you'll have much less of a distraction from your phone. Using these tips, I've gotten my screen time on my phone to 30 minutes a day. So they are quite effective. I used to not know why I would randomly pick up my phone, why it was such a distraction even with notifications off. Sorry boys, we had a wasp interruption, so I had to real quick grab some defense so I could go on the offense when it comes over. But along with what I was saying, it's not necessarily only an issue of the fact that you're wasting time whenever you pick up your phone. It's actually because your brain isn't as effective when you are constantly getting distracted, when you aren't focused on one task. Every time you pick up your phone, you click on an app, your brain starts changing states to be focused on whatever you are doing. So if you aren't focused on the task that you are actually doing, then what happens is you start getting your cognitive processes, your cognitive pathways mixed up. Now, when you're focused on one task, you start shutting off the pathways you don't need, and you start turning on the pathways you do need. This is why on the nights where you wait till last second to complete something, you suddenly feel 10 times more productive. You have no time to pick up your phone. Your phone isn't a distraction. You're ignoring it, so your cognitive processes are solely shift to the task you have at hand, and that is that. That's all there is to it. When your cognitive processes are shifted to the right task, you will be twice as productive. It's not necessarily time. Time isn't very important. It's the quality of work you are completing. This is what people mean when they say you could get a week's worth of work done in one morning. It's true. It's because you solely optimized your brain that morning to get more work done than a single person can in a week because their cognitive state isn't in the right place. So with all the basics being said, let's not waste your time and get into the things you can do to optimize your phone. And the first thing is to grayscale your phone. What does this mean? This means you could go into your settings, Google whatever type of phone you have, Google how to grayscale it, and you could go into your settings and turn your phone to only be black and white and gray, as if you were colorblind. Now what this does is it makes it much less appealing. When you click on your phone and you go and scroll on Instagram, you like looking at the pictures, or you open some sort of Snapchat. You like seeing the thing as if it was real. Now, when you grayscale all of this, it kind of snaps you back to reality. Snaps you back to, oh hey, this isn't real, this is over a screen. This isn't in my life right now. So this is something that really helped me be aware of what exactly I was doing. Even if it isn't just scrolling, even if it's just opening up a game, opening up your phone, we like colors. We're humans who could see colors. Colors are a big deal to us, and it simply just makes the dopamine peaks you get from it not as high. And when the dopamine peaks you get from it aren't as high, when you get a peak from craving it, that isn't high. So you don't get as tempted when it drops down because it doesn't drop down as low. So that's what we're doing. We're depleting the dopamine levels you're getting from your phone. When you don't get much dopamine, you won't get tempted as much. You won't grab something that doesn't give you dopamine because there's no reason in your mind to grab it when what you are doing is going to improve your life and what you want to grab is only going to harm your life. Now you reach to your phone. You grab your phone and you look at it and it's already on, it's already unlocked. You picked it up, you didn't have to do anything. It turned on, used your Face ID, unlocked itself. What they just did to you by implementing these features is take away your ability to think of why you are picking up your phone when you pick it up. So what I recommend doing is you turn off the raise to wake and turn off anything. There's settings for all of this. You turn all this stuff off. You turn off raise to wake, and now you are going to have to think of a reason before you press the power button. It's a very small change, but pressing the power button alone is enough to make you think for a second. Wait, why exactly am I picking this up? Is there a reason, or am I just bored? Am I just craving dopamine? Is this a temptation, or is this a genuine reason? And you probably already know what I'm going to say next. Next, I'm going to tell you to turn off Face ID. Face ID is once again one of those things that they implemented onto your phone for ease of use because they want to make it as simple as possible to make you addicted to your phone. If you want to make this real difficult, you could change your password to a longer, more difficult password, maybe just random numbers. And you have to write down your password in your closet, or like write down your password and put a piece of paper in the back of your phone. That alone, having to pull out that piece of paper and look at the password, that's going to be enough to deter you away from your phone, make it harder, make you be able to resist it, because who wants to pull out this piece of paper just to check if they got any new snaps and then turn it back off and go back to work? Now let's say you're trying to reduce your screen time to a specific number. The first step I recommend doing is talking to a more productive friend, somebody who you think will judge you if you tell them your screen time, and say, hey bro, can I start telling you my screen time every single night? And what this is going to do is make you conscious whenever you're on your phone. You're going to realize you're bringing that number up, and then that person, you know they're going to judge you, so it's going to deter you away from being on your phone too much. If you want to take this even further, what you could say is, hey, so we're going to subtract 30 minutes a day from my screen time. Say I'm at 8 hours a day of screen time. I hope none of you are at that. But say we subtract 30 minutes a day, then you could get really into a much better place. But what we're going to do to enforce that is say, hey, if at the end of the day I didn't subtract 30 minutes from my screen time, then I owe you lunch. I have to take you out to lunch. That way you're giving them an incentive to do this with you, but you're also forcing yourself to really stick to your new rules. You could claim, oh, I don't care what other people think. This won't work for me, but I recommend you just trying it, because I don't believe there's anybody who can't be peer pressured if they set it up in the right way. If this doesn't work at all for you, you're likely doing it with the wrong person. My next piece of advice is to go ahead and turn off your notifications. How do you expect to stay productive when every time you're getting locked into your task, every time you're starting to genuinely get focused, a little ding goes off? You are willingly choosing to allow yourself to get distracted by leaving this on. Whatever excuse you have is just a cope. I mean, 20 years ago, there was no such thing as phones carrying around. Nothing is going to happen. There's no major events that you need your phone for today. If a major event does happen, that person should be able to deal with it for long enough to allow you to get back to your phone whenever you actually need to go on it. Worst case is that you turn off your notifications for every app except for messages, and then you mute every person except for the people that you crucially need these notifications on for. I recommend not even doing this because there's still a chance it could ding, whatever, stupid distractions that shift your cognitive processes away from whatever you are doing and onto the distraction. So avoid these as much as possible. Turn off your notifications. My next tip is organization. Condense everything down to one page. In the process, you're going to realize how many stupid apps you have on your phone. How many apps that you need to get rid of that don't serve you any purpose. When you're condensing down to one page, what you are doing is removing that ability to swipe around pages. Ooh, which app looks interesting? No, we don't need any of that. We don't need to scroll around and try to find which one would give us the most dopamine. What we need is one page sorted into individual boxes so we have purpose for whatever we are clicking on. We're not looking, we're thinking, and we're knowing why we are on our phone through having these boxes. So I really recommend deleting as much apps as possible because you don't need all that bullshit. You could always reinstall it. One thing that was annoying to me is the fact that your settings app you can't turn off notifications for, so there's always that red circle with the number. What I did was just removed it from my home screen. Something you could do, just remove it from your home screen. How you get to it is from the search bar, and this again is going to make nothing on your phone tempting at all, and all you're doing here is making yourself have a reason for going on your phone and having to see exactly what you are clicking on, what you are going to. And what I recommend doing on top of this is going ahead and turning on the screen time widget. Now, a lot of people want to reduce their screen time and they're not even aware at any moment what exactly it is. When you turn on the screen time widget, it becomes very hard to avoid the fact that you have been on your phone for way too long today and you're not getting anything done. So go ahead, turn on that widget, become aware. That is the very first step. No matter who you are, this is a widget you need to implement. Now, you want to know the one simplest trick, but I know most of you won't implement it, but how I immediately got my screen time to 30 minutes a day? Yeah, I did all these things that I'm mentioning, but the one simplest trick is just to give somebody a password to your screen time. So you turn on your screen time where it limits you to 30 minutes a day, and then you don't know the password to give yourself more screen time. Whoever you know, have them set this password for you. And what this is going to do is make you aware of every single moment on your phone. You're never going to be on your phone just because. My next tip is to have a designated phone drawer. You could imagine how this would help. If every single time you go on your phone, you have to put it back in this one drawer in your house. And to get on your phone, you have to open that drawer. Again, you're super conscious when you're going on it, and you're also adding more of a step in between. So when you always return your phone to that drawer, it starts getting kind of annoying, but you just need to keep doing this. Even if you're in another room, you return it to that floor, you never set it down. Say you know you need it in 5 minutes, doesn't matter, you have to return it to that drawer. You need to stay focused on what you are doing, and when this becomes more of a task than something that gives you dopamine, it'll no longer be a silly temptation. I mean, you guys are so addicted to your phone that you constantly are losing it. You're not even aware of when you had it last, when you're setting it down, when you're picking it up. You're not even aware of it. So you're losing your phone, and two, you're searching for your phone with your phone in your hand when you're on call. This is how addicted you are. You don't get enough dopamine from the call, so, oh, where's my phone? Oh, wait, it's in my hand. But how do I know you've done this? I've done it myself when I was addicted to my phone. And I'm glad to say that this is no longer an issue, not something I'll ever do again. My next tip is to always be wearing a watch. You could get a pretty nice watch for relatively cheap. And what this is going to do is not force you to always be looking at your phone to check the time, or you don't even always need your phone on you anymore because you have the time right on your wrist. Now, you know those times where you're going on a walk, walking around. Okay, this is a nice dopamine free time, but now you're starting to think, oh, I want to listen to music, got my phone out. Oh, I'm not actually doing anything. Why don't I just look at my phone while I'm walking? I'm still walking. So you start making all these excuses in your head just because you don't have a watch to check the time. Because you're holding your phone in your hand, you don't want it in your pocket because you don't want to reduce your sperm count. So you're sitting here walking around with your phone out. And this is enough of a temptation to screw up your dopamine system. Now, let's say you just want to reduce your ability to resist, or say you want to have a higher baseline level dopamine. You don't want to actually get these desires, even if your phone is around you. You're always going to get the desires, but the best way to actually reduce them is through meditation, through journaling, through walks, through doing stuff that really calms your mind, through reading, stuff that forces you to focus on one task, makes you settle down your mind, get away from your phone. This is going to train your mind to have a higher baseline level of dopamine, and B, it'll help you be more aware of what is going on inside of your head, so you know when you get these temptations, you're not just thinking that you have a genuine reason to pick up your phone when you don't. You're very aware. And this is a side note, something that may not work for anybody, but something I found really useful. Just opening my window when I'm working makes me significantly more productive. Now, I don't know the reason, but the sound of chirping birds, the sound of cars driving by, the sound of kids yelling outside, all of it gets you more focused, or like more in tune with nature almost. The sound of dogs barking. But yeah, basically when you're delinking yourself from the world, locked in an office, how do you expect your brain not to want to link back in? Link to your phone because that's your source to the world. Go ahead and open your window, and now you're opened up to the world. Simple stuff, but you'll be surprised how much of a benefit it makes. And then this whole video I've been talking about exceptions. You've probably been thinking of exceptions in your head, reason why you can't do these things. And the simple truth is, you can do every single one of these things. And it's simply through just getting another phone. Next time you're trading in your old phone for a new one, don't trade it in. Just buy the new one, spend the cash to have a second phone, and what this will do is it will allow you to have a phone that's solely productivity. A phone that you could carry around with you because you know there isn't a single thing on that phone. You removed everything from that phone except for stuff that is work related or stuff that actually matters. On your other phone, that's the one locked in the drawer. That's the one grayscale. That's the one that you're trying to avoid most of the day, and you'll be able to keep that away from you, and you won't get tempted by it at any times because the only phone near you is your second phone. So if you had any excuses, boom, there goes the excuses. You now have to implement the tips you learned in this video. With that being said, I want you to look at the timestamps, scroll through them, and write down every single one of them on a piece of paper. And then go through, Google real quick how to actually turn them on, how to implement them if you don't know how to. Or you could go to that piece of paper later and put it in an obvious spot if you don't have time right now. Go ahead, share this with a friend who you think needs to hear this. And remember, perspicacity is our grindstone for success. We are lifelong learners. Keep on going.